This is Spotlight TV, and I am Christian Lestat Bucer. For the people at home, who are we here with today?
Paul Gorman from GMD Films.
Now, what's going on in the world of GMD?
There's a lot going on. Next thing that's coming up is October 11th. We're going to do the world theatrical premiere House of Bedlam. And then after that, in November, we have the Films for Food benefit, and we're going to world premiere film after that, which is Dead Body Man Chronicles.
Do you have any after parties for that premiere?
Yeah, the world premiere has an after party at midnight, right after the movie. Sudden Impulse is going to play, and Maddie B is going to play. And possibly Shag Nasty might be there too. I'm not sure about that. They haven't been confirmed.
Now, with the Films for Food, what movies are going to be played there this year, do you know?
Well, Films for Food is November 7th and 8th. Like last year, it's a 24-hour marathon. We start at 8 p.m. on Friday, and the last movie goes up at 8 p.m. on Saturday, and it's a 24 hours continuous of all indie films. And it's still early. I'm still getting films coming in, but this year we have a movie called The Other, which is done by Kimmy Drake out of Georgia, and we have House of Bedlam's going to play there, and like I said, Dead Body Man Chronicles is going to play there. And there's a possibility, I can't say who, but there may be a huge local world premiere at Films for Food. Just can't talk about it right now.
And that's going to be at the Theater 145,
yeah, that's
right?
going to be Theater 145 on 11th and Sass in Erie.
Now, a lot of people talk about the competition here. You know, do you feel confident about the outcome on what date is it? October 15th?
October 11th.
October 11th.
At Theater 145. You say competition, what do you mean?
Like competition, you know, other events going on that, you know, same day.
I don't know. I think our event is considerably different than some of the other things going around in town. It's an Erie movie premiere. It's House of Bedlam's been in development for 2 years. Took us a long time to make it. We had a lot of people involved. So I think there's a lot of people waiting to see it. Otherwise, I don't know. I think that the people that like the GMD movies will come out.
Now, for all the GMD fans out there, how do they get a hold of the GMD merchandise and movies and anything they can buy?
You can go to, anybody can go to gmdfilms.com. That's pretty much the portal. You can get our DVDs there and also link to like our video on demand and download sites. We just launched a brand new website called gmdfilmsonline.com, where you can now download full-length DVD quality movies. So you can get Fury there and Chasing Darkness. We actually just released sort of a preview of Dead Body Man Chronicles, which isn't coming out on DVD till November, but you can download the full-length director's cut from Ryan right from our site, so you get to see it like a month, 2 months ahead of time, which is very cool. And that's sort of growing. We're adding more and more of our movies to it all the time.
Now, with this year at the Film Fest 2008, there's for the Great Lakes Film Fest, there's not. I don't think there's too many local films ready for the Film Fest. So, what's your predictions on how the Film Fest is going to do without, you know, those local films?
Well, definitely in Erie, the Erie filmmakers do draw crowds. I think that's been maybe underestimated by some of the organizers of film events in town. I think a lot of people come out to see the Erie films. They sort of have a different flavor to them, a different feel to them. We all sort of have a different style than what you can get in Hollywood. You're right, there aren't a lot of Erie movies that are going to be screened at the fest this year. I don't know if it's because movies aren't being made. I think that the movies have gotten more complex. All of us are on like our third or fourth or more films. I think Len's working on his fifth, and his movies have grown in size every single time he puts one out. When you compare Fist of the Vampire to Swamp Zombies, I think even Len will admit they're hard to compare. Fist of the Vampire is so much bigger in scope, and I'm sure, I haven't seen any of it, but I'm sure that Warriors of the Apocalypse is going to be even bigger than Fist, and Fist was huge. So it takes a long time to make. Virgin Pockets took us 5 months to make. House of Bedlam took almost 2 years. So I don't see it as a decline in Erie filmmaking. I think it's an indication that Erie films are getting bigger and better. So I think from the fan standpoint, it's going to be worth the wait.
Now, do you think that the Film Fest movement is going out and more filmmakers want to get that single showing, like, you know, like that single showing, that way they can basically control the after party and basically it's their night opposed to being on night with a bunch of other filmmakers?
I think it probably varies depending on the filmmaker themselves and the audiences that each filmmaker studio has. The festivals are usually tied in with a lot of press, so that's nice. There's a lot of people that come for one price. They can see a bunch of movies. But for certain movies, like House of Bedlam, we wanted to do as a separate event because, like you said, we wanted to have our own after party and do the event the way we wanted to do it. And we wanted to offer the fans an alternative to what's going on during that weekend as well. So I don't know if it's a trend, maybe not. I think the way the world has gone with distribution of independent films, filmmakers have a lot more control now. We don't need studios, we don't need labels, we don't need a lot of the stuff that goes along with it when you're able to put on a show for your fans and people show up. You know, it sort of gives us the freedom to do it however we want.
Now, in the other years, there's been a lot of promotions of the Film Fest, the Great Lakes one. Now, this year, like, you haven't really seen too many flyers, or well, actually, you haven't seen any flyers. Do you think this is a sign that this might be the last year of the Great Lakes? And that might be a beginning of a new chapter in filmmaking, the way we do things without it?
I don't really know about the Great Lakes Fest or the advertising. Because I spent most of this year working on House of Bedlam, I didn't get to have as big of a hand in it as I had in other years, so I've been sort of out of the loop. But it may just go back to it's a different economy, it's a different way of doing things. If you consider the way the music industry was just a few years ago when bands, just to get heard, had to have a record label and be on the radio, now bands can make a ton of money building fan bases all completely on their own. And it may just be a sign of that movement that independent film has become more and more independent and filmmakers are able to do almost whatever they want. I think there's always going to be a place for festivals. Fans are always going to love to go to them. So I don't think Great Lakes is going to go away. I don't think that Erie Horror Fest is going to go away. I think they're just going to become maybe a smaller part of the big puzzle of independent film and how it's seen and distributed.
Well, I noticed last year the local films did wonderful at the Great Lakes Film Fest, but then the other films didn't do good at all. Like especially the ones that were played in the beginning afternoon, like they were promoted with flyers, but people, I don't know if people didn't come to them because they didn't know the people in the movie, or you know, maybe it's a filmmaker from out of town. But the local movies kicked ass, but every other movies, you know, didn't do too good. And what I'm concerned about is this year there is no local film, you know, being presented.
Sure.
And they're all like basically movies that no one has ever heard of. Do you think people in this town will show up to that?
It's hard to say. Again, it's like you have Erie Films showing in Erie, and we all sort of have our own followings, and there's a ton of film fans that just dig Erie movies. So, you know, it's like Bon Jovi going and playing the Jersey Shore. Of course he's going to sell out. We've taken our movies to Cleveland and, you know, get maybe 100 people instead of 300 when we play Erie. And, you know, we've gone to Louisville, and our stuff, like I said, is shown at Cannes, and those audiences don't even compare to Erie audiences, because when we're in Cleveland, no one's heard of us there. So we're just, you know, moving the movies around and taking them to as many places that'll show them. And I don't think that a lack of Erie movies is going to mean that the fests are going to go away. They certainly won't. I don't think they will. I think it's just that Erie Films have an audience here in Erie and people come. It's unfortunate that the movies didn't get finished in time, but I don't think it's a good idea for any filmmaker to rush through a movie to get it to a certain screening date.
Alright, well, thank you for being here on Spotlight TV. You want to sign this one off?
You're watching Spotlight TV. This is Paul Gorman from GMD Films.
This is Kristen Lestat, motherfuckers.